There is a scale of questions in the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, known as the MMPI, that was put together by Cook and Medley. And it pulls out items that characterize hostility, like not trusting others, being suspicious of others, easily angry with others. It's almost a cynical hostility. Some of the items are things like, if people find $1, they won't give it back. If people can get away with something, they always will. You can't trust people, they won't tell you the truth. It's a cynical version of hostility. And so in that, what we did was we took all the women's scores on that test, and then you look at the people who are like in the highest quartile and study those versus people that are very low. That cynical hostility is also, it was of interest at that time because that turned out to be what was coronary prone about type A. The type A behavior pattern is a real cluster of different things, like being time urgent, talking fast. There are all these characteristics that Rosamond and Friedman, who actually worked here at Mount Zion Hospital, right over on Scott Street, is the Harold Brun Institute. They were right there when they wrote their book. And I did some research with Ray Rosamond, and we tried to figure out what was coronary prone about type A. And it wasn't doing two things at the same time. And it wasn't talking fast. It was this kind of hostility. It's like people, an example of it would also be when you're driving on the freeway, are you more focused on the people in front of you getting in your way than the people that you might be slowing up where you're driving? The type A people were very, very focused on cars in their way. And they would look ahead at traffic, I gotta go by that guy, and what's that guy doing? And, it's like a battle. When we interviewed these cynical people would want to know they want to know about the interviewer, where'd you get your degree? Who are you? They're competitive. What kind of school did you go to? Wait a minute, maybe you just went to some not a half-baked place. But they were just amazing. The interviews, they always made people wait for the interview, and they tell them to be there right on time. It's really important that you have to be there right on time, be on time, and then they would leave the door open so that the interviewee could see the interviewer buffing. And the type A, in the original study they were all men, and then we did a study of women, and these men would come in and they would just, be angry at this person. And she would go, oh, I'm so sorry, I wasn't paying attention, my clock isn't working, or I didn't hear, I'll turn it, and they were really upset, and so they would try to, but the cynical hostility is, wait a minute, you can't trust anybody. And in fact, I'm making a face, and it was interesting, Rosamond and Friedman picked up that type A's did something with their face, and they did a grimace. But Rosamond and Friedman weren't experts on faces, so they talked about the corrugator muscle, that's the muscle here, that they did some kind of frowning. And when I worked with Ray Rosamond, I discovered there was this guy named Paul Ekman. Some of you have heard about him. He's a specialist in faces. So we got Paul, and we had Paul look at the videotapes of the type A's. And Paul picked up what they were, you take an expert on faces, and he could tell Rosamond and Friedman what they were looking at. And what they were seeing was really interesting. It wasn't what they thought. It wasn't like, this isn't what they were. I'm doing corrugator muscle, but that's not hostile. And what Ekman picked up was that the really extreme type A's would do a grimace with the lower lid, and they would go like, it's hard to do, you have to go like that. I am raising, I had to learn this, Paul taught me these things, you raise just the lower lid, and that is animals do that too, it's a glare. And the other thing that A's did were they would show disgust. And that's like if you smell something that's yucky, you go, and in the videos you can even see the type A people. It's very fast. It's almost a micro thing because it's so not okay in our society to look at people with disgust. Sort of we don't do that. It's not nice. You've got to But they did all, but it would be very, very fleeting. But Paul, because what he would do is study every frame of the videotape so he didn't miss anything. So it's really interesting. But that's a long story on cynical hostility, and that's how we measured it, and it was not so good. It's better to not be that way, because it means these people get no social support. It was very interesting when I studied type A people. They know a lot of people, and they know where they went to school, and they know this, and they know that. They know everything about them, but they're not getting, it's not social support.